I guess we'll just sign off and take questions. Sorry. um, yeah, as you know, first I got to tell you that everybody that signed on tonight, I would consider you very brave and very dedicated and very committed. Uh, it just, that's what it takes for people like us to be able to reach out, you know. Uh, and again, it takes a lot to do that, a lot of need, a lot of willingness. People talk about willpower, how we don't have willpower. Well, you know, they're absolutely wrong. We have more willpower than anybody else because we just take that willpower and get stuck in it. And all we have to do is rechannel that willpower so that we can use our powers for good, as they say. But basically, I'm learning more and more about the fact that I truly believe that the obesity is a disease. There's no kidding, no question about it. When I was 2 or 3 years old, my grandmother flew us to Sioux City, Iowa. I won't go into that. But on the plane, they served breakfast, a full breakfast back then. And apparently I got a full breakfast. And my grandmother stated that I ate the entire breakfast and then I ate her entire breakfast. And I think that might have been a tip off right there. And, you know, it was one of those things where I just got big and I was, you know, I hope nobody gets insulted by me using the word fat, but that's what I am. And so, you know, it was one of those things where I was active, but I was far more active at eating. And not until I got into high school, later part of junior high and high school, when I was in all these sports and you're gone all day, you know, I actually slimmed down. Then came college. And then it started to creep back up again. I had no governor on what I was eating. But you know, school got in the way of eating sometimes, so it just kind of gradually, you know, piled on. uh, During the course of my adventure, of my journey, there were a number of stresses that occurred in my life, and this basically started maybe 15 or 20 years ago when I really started eating. I would eat for any reason. I tell people that, you know, I would go over to the holiday station or whatever, you know, twice a week to buy gas and 7 days a week to buy groceries. You know, it was, you know, people say, what do you like to eat? And I say, whatever's around. It's non-discriminatory and it's compulsive. It's obsession and it's a disease. And I believe that because when everybody behaves in a very similar fashion, I mean, we all behave the same in this situation. Although there's some differences here and there and here and there, when you peel it down, when you peel the onion down, we're pretty much all the same. We've got something that just keeps us eating and puts the weight on. It's a lot like diabetes or high blood pressure or cholesterol or, you know, any of those types of situations. The good news is with those, they've got medications to treat it. You know, and yes, we do have medications to treat the obesity, but, you know, they're not great up until recently, of course. So nonetheless, I just kept eating. I was not a happy person and I was not feeling good about myself. And, you know, they talk about your self-esteem and I didn't know where that was. And you know, so I just kept trying to hide everything with food. And then I tried to hide the food. You know, that's the other thing is once you start, you know, sneaking it around and hiding it, this is one of the things I did, you know, it's then the guilt and the shame start kicking in. And that shame's a terrible thing to have to experience. And unfortunately, those, you know, those of us like here tonight have experienced that shame, and oftentimes it's put on us by others. And so all that does is make you want to withdraw more. You know, you try to be fun at functions, but all you're thinking about, well, all I'm thinking about is food. All I'm thinking about is I got to get closer there. But on the other hand, I have to entertain everybody so that they'll think I'm somebody. That's not the best place to be. The situation then just escalates after that. It continues, and sooner or later, I'm sitting there eating as much as I can, bags of whatever it is, you know, bags of cookies, bags of chips, bags of whatever, just whatever it is that's bad for you, I ate, and lots of it. And all the while, I had this feeling of guilt because I shouldn't be doing this. I'm putting stuff in my mouth and I'm telling myself I shouldn't be doing this. Why am I doing this? And the answer to that is I got a disease that is not being taken care of and not being treated. So things got to a point where life was pretty unbearable. You try to hide things. For instance, I was wearing suspenders at one time because my pants just wouldn't stay up because I was too big. And so I'm wearing suspenders and I'm trying to hide the suspenders. You pull your coat around like this, and the point is everybody knew I was wearing suspenders, but I thought I was fooling everybody, and I'm just fooling myself. And it wasn't good. Shame doesn't go away until you face the situation, until you get brave, like all of you right now. I think that that's a terrible feeling. I think all it does is make matters worse. I think guilt derives from the fact that we know we shouldn't be doing what we're doing, but we do it. And what do we do? I found that I got so big that people were really taking an interest and a concern about me. It wasn't that people were saying you're getting awful big, you're getting fat, you must be eating like a pig or anything like that. No, they weren't. They were actually truly concerned about me, and I didn't realize that. I thought everybody was kind of looking at me and thinking that, oh, there goes that guy that, has no control in anything. And the fact of the matter is, that's what I thought they were thinking. But in actuality, that's what I was thinking about me. And I ran across a saying that it's kind of interesting when you think about it. You analyze it a little bit. It's almost like a Yogi Berra-ism. And it's what other people think of me is none of my business. And that's exactly it. We can't really think about what other people think of us because we're really just pointing it at ourselves. So that means we got to work on ourselves, So all these people were concerned, and this one very good dear friend of mine took it upon himself to invite me out for lunch. You might say it was kind of I don't want to say bushwhack, but it was kind of an entrapment situation that turned into an intervention. Basically, he and I went over to, I think it was Redstone, and we were getting a booth because he wanted a booth, and the guy's as skinny as rail. So he just flopped himself in there. And, I tried to get in that booth and it was painful. The thing was bolted down, so I couldn't move the table. And of course, the booth doesn't move. So I just wedged myself in there. And I think I still have the permanent red etching mark from where I, moved into that booth. Nonetheless, that right then and there was a message. In fact, the message similar was when it was just a few weeks before I was flying out to a conference, and I had the exit row so I could have extra leg room. What I didn't realize, I was so big that I couldn't fit into the chair. I couldn't get my butt down into the chair. And so what happened then is I had to talk to the flight attendants, and I had to, this is bad. I had to upgrade myself to first class. And not only that, it's like, it's like seat 22A needs to go to first class, can't fit. It's one of those types of things. So I get into first class, I sit down in the thing, and I'm going, side to side, because you get to that point, or I did. Let's say this, I'll take credit for my own issues. The I had to have an extension on the seat belt as well. So every minute of that trip was just miserable. So here I am sitting having lunch with my good friend. And the way he tells it is that he ordered the little lunch salad and I ordered the right side of the menu. And he probably wasn't too far off from that. And we talked a little bit and I said, I finally came to grips with it. I said, I just can't do this. What, do you have anything for me? And he said, yeah, I went to this place. It's called Medifast. It's now called Livia, by the way. And they were really good. They helped me out. They counseled me and all this. And I lost, my weight. And I said, how much did you have to lose? And he said, I had to lose 20 pounds. And, at that time, it's like, well, take a teaspoon out of the ocean. And pretty soon you're going to drink the dry. But he said that you're just out of control and we're all really worried about you. And I said, well, what can I do? And he said, well, I think you should try this program. I think it works. And this friend of mine was a surgeon, so I know he was stubborn as hell. I mean, he had his own way of doing things, and how that is. They invented, but he was successful, and I thought, well, if he can do it, I can do it. And so I went over and I signed up and everything. In the meantime, while we were doing this, he said, he actually said, you need to lose weight because you're just an enormous fat pig. But he said it in a very endearing way. I'm sorry, I actually had to laugh when he said that because it was true, but yet it was true, So anyway, I went in and I got some help and I asked for help and they talked to me. And Camille, for instance, has been counseling people for a long time. And I'll tell you one thing, it really helps. It really helps when somebody is concerned about you. When you actually stop and think they are concerned about me, and it really makes it a lot better to really face our demons, face our problems, and talk about them. I think it's always a good idea. Again, it's the part about being brave, and being brave helps build our self-esteem and our self-esteem helps build our confidence, and our confidence helps us do what we need to do. And it worked for me. I did exactly as I was told. Well, to the best of my abilities, because nobody's perfect. I hate those people that say they do this perfectly. There's something wrong with them. I got to tell you, they're just not right, And I got two rules about weight loss, personal rules, and I'm not trying to diss anybody or be a but first is that, when people are talking to you about losing weight, it's really hard for a skinny person to tell you how to lose weight when you know that they really haven't had to lose weight. And the other is when a fat person tells you how to lose weight and they've never lost weight. So those are the situations that really kind of need to be, taken with a grain of salt. What I needed was to talk to somebody who walked in my shoes. And that's what makes it different. That's what makes it better. I can't come up with reasons or excuses, and there's a million of them. We always have one, but I can't come up with anything that's legitimate. So I just have to do what I'm told because I want to be better. I want to be a better me. I want to be the best me I can. And life was not letting me do that. I was not letting me do that. So nonetheless, going into this thing with, just completely bankrupt of every kind of emotion you can imagine and feeling, I got to start building up again. And I started off by the first day, was miserable. God, they always are, aren't they? First 3 days, oh my God. But you start off and you get through the first day. Then you get through the second day. Then you get through the third day. And all of a sudden you're at a week. And you go in and you talk to them. I like the one-on-one stuff, by the way. You talk to them and you get on the scale. And lo and behold, you've lost some weight. Whether it's a half a pound, 1 pound, 2, 3, 4, whatever, any weight loss is a positive. And I tell people, they say, well, I only lost 4 pounds. I said, look, every pound is sacred. Every time you can drop one, you have got a big win under your belt, regardless of how much it is, because you've put yourself forward with it and you decided that you want to be a better person, like I want to be a better person. So I would go in once every week, sit down and talk with them, and I'd weigh in. And I had this, you have the app right on your computer, the FitnessPal, Lose It, or whatever, there's a billion of them out there. And you record all your stuff. And, and so you can kind of get to a point where you kind of can predict how much, you're going to lose in a week if you follow the rules. And rules can be sometimes hard to follow because one moment, I'm doing everything exactly as I'm supposed to. And the next moment I've got a ice cream cone in my hand and a bag of chips sitting next to me. And I thought, okay. I don't have to do this. I'll finish the ice cream cone and the bag of chips, but I don't have to do this tomorrow. And so that's the point. It used to be if I tried to go on a diet for a while, I'd try to lose some weight and I'd lose some weight. And then all of a sudden I kind of got overwhelmed with, I got to have something. And I think many of you out there, just like myself, got into something we have no business getting into. And the next thing you know is, well, 6 months from now, I think maybe I'll try to lose some weight again. And how many times has that happened to all of us? It's really frustrating. So there's any number of reasons that we gain weight, but we just gain weight. We just overeat, we gain weight. Our emotions are so very similar in nature when we're talking about guilt and shame and isolation, and depression can come right out of that as well, and all these other types of things. And everybody says, not everybody, but there's those that say you've got to quit this because you're going to die. And I listened to that and I wouldn't have heard a single word they said. When somebody says you really shouldn't eat that, all I hear is eat that. It's one of those things where it's hard for people to help when they haven't been there. It's not just about eating less, it's about trying to feel better about ourselves. And however it works for you, whether you go to some place and get some good counseling, where you try a diet place or something like that and it clicks for you, that's wonderful. You talk to some friends, you get together and you just talk about somehow things that are difficult and what I'm going to try to do. And that's what it really is. It's a community. We got to watch out for each other. I say this oftentimes, but we got to take care of our own, because we're all the same. Yes, I got lucky. I was blessed. I don't know how you want to look at it, but I just hit that level of desperate willingness that said, just keep going and keep going. And I did, and I kept going a little at a time and a little at a time, because if I had to say that I wanted to lose 100 pounds every day, I would never succeed. But if I said I'm going to try to lose that 1, 2, 3, 4 pounds a week, I can do that. I can do that. And so I think that it takes help. It really does. We have to overcome the fact that we think we're bad people, that we're weak people, that we've got no moral compass, that we just have no willpower. And again, I will repeat, we have a lot of willpower. It's just channeled in the wrong direction. We need to turn that around, because I can, once I got on the right track and everything, I was like a pit bull on a pant leg. I wasn't going to let go of this because it felt good. I felt good about myself. Again, 1 pound makes a difference. Every pound is sacred. So I go off and I lose, a bunch of weight, and I'm feeling absolutely terrific. Oh my gosh, I haven't felt this good in years and years. And so I learned a lot of things, because during the journey of the loss of weight, you learn that there are things that you can do to maintain, your weight loss. Yes, you're going to put on a few. Yes, you're going to take off a few. Yes, the way that weight loss works and maintenance works is it's not one of these. It's one of these. You go up a few, you go down a few. You go up a few, you go down a few. As long as you can kind of maintain that kind of control, and maintain that feeling of accomplishment, it's just fine. You don't have to be perfect. I mean, again, I think those people that try to do things perfectly, they're just not right, So it's okay to sin a little bit, or I had a patient that kept using that phrase, and I kept saying, well, you just kind of got into a situation where you wanted something bad enough. But if you just really know that this is only one day, you've got a billion more days, you've got months and months, weeks and weeks and months to just get back and do what you're doing. Tomorrow is a better day. That's what I always say if I kind of get into a situation that I have no business getting into. But tomorrow can be a better day. It really can. My strength improved. My endurance certainly improved. We were playing. This was right before I went through all these, this emotional upheaval and interventions and people talking about. I was playing golf with my wife, and I like to walk and play golf. And so I wasn't walking, I was lumbering. Okay, that would be the best way to discuss it. And we were playing just 9 holes, and I'm walking, and she likes to play fast, and I love that. And so I'm walking, and I'm noticing that I'm getting a little farther behind, and I'm really getting out of breath, and I'm really feeling awful. And so I finally said, "Are you doing this for the insurance?" That's how bad it can get sometimes. But like I said, there were enough people concerned about me that I started to get concerned about myself. I took advice. I did the best I could. And it works. Now, the thing is, the hard part of this is that no matter what kind of program you're in, no matter what you do, if you work the program, it will work. And that's the thing. It's just, you do what you're told, you do it to the best of your abilities. And again, you just do what you can. And if you work it, it'll work for you. I think that in a healthy sense, somebody will come into the office and sit down and say, I lost 10 pounds. I go, that's fantastic. How'd you do it? And they'll tell me how they did it. And there's always something about having somebody in their life. But they lost the 10 pounds, and they tell me how they did it. And it sounded a little different than what I would know. But they're healthy, and they were doing something in a fashion that was working. And there's just no way that I'm ever going to stand in the way of somebody's success. If somebody is losing weight and it's in a healthy fashion, what am I going to do? Tell them how to do it better? Well, that's dumb. If somebody told me that, I'd probably get mad. Whatever else I could do with being mad. But I think, again, it's all about not being afraid to ask for some help. Again, you're all very brave here. And I think we all need a chance, and we all have a disease. We have a disease that doesn't have a cure for it. We have a couple of new things on the market now that you've read about, and all these that certainly do help more than the old pills and all that other kind of thing. And it's more of just a helper, because when it gets down to it, nobody is going to have us lose weight. We have to work at it. So if somebody is counseling you, listen to what they're counseling about. Do the best you can. If somebody says it's time to go on this medication to help you lose weight, what I tell people, if I give you a pill, you got to make the pill work. And so it's a kind of a commitment. It's a commitment. And there is some fear in that, fear of change. But after that first 1, 2, 3, 4 pounds, you're going in the right direction. And that's what feels good. And I feel so much better about myself just because, I like myself. And I think that's what we need to strive for. We want to be the best we are. We got to like ourselves. So I wish everybody some good luck, and I wish everybody a sense of desperate willingness like I had. But everything is doable. It's all doable. There's always hope, And then there are those, I'm talking about, counseling. I'm talking about, medications. But then there are those of us that simply need a procedure. It's just the way it works. It's nothing to be ashamed of. It's nothing to feel guilty about. It will just make your life better. So all of these things can make your life better. We just kind of got to do it. And I think that's why we kind of all need each other. We really do. So I guess at that point, I've been talking a whole bunch. I wonder if anybody has any questions. Camille, did you want to kind of take over from here or something? And I'll try to field some stuff.
Sure. Thanks so much for sharing, Dr. Olson. I'm going to stop the recording now. And